Board games, board games is what we're talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this video for a song and then we will show the whimsical creatures from the deck. This is a game. We will all trek through this journey and we will talk about this game, and hopefully you will not balk. Board games is what we're talking about. We whimsical creatures, I'm not gonna shout.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Bez Shahriari, welcome to Kicking Tables. It is such a pleasure to finally have you on the show. I got to tell you, I've been following your work for a while now since we've kind of met online, and it's great to have you here. And thank you for opening the show like that. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's a delight to be here and chat to you. And yeah, I was just listening to a couple more of the recent videos yesterday, and I
Awesome.
really like the enthusiasm and everything that you're doing. Keep it
Oh,
up.
I appreciate that. Thank you. But tell us, so you've got Wee Whimsical Creatures. You've got a Kickstarter coming up soon for this game. But tell us about the game. What is it? Tell our audience
Well,
what
first,
this game is.
the name of the game is not just We
Right.
Whimsical Creatures.
Right. Tell us the
name of
full
game
name.
is a game about We Whimsical Creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises.
It is
So
such a
that-
great name. Like, how many? Are you going for the world record of the longest game name?
Not with this one. I mean, I kind of already have that record. The longest game name. It starts off a game wherein you bladder a Scottish word beginning to talk at length at a fast rate without necessarily making very much sense, and then it goes on for another 2,000 words.
Oh my gosh!
So the name is longer than the instructions for that one.
Wow.
But here it was just I was trying to work out what name it should be. It, like the title says, it's a bunch of creatures. You make a noise, everyone else guesses what it is. And I was thinking, what should it be? Should it be? And then I was describing the game to someone, and I mentioned the wee whimsical creatures, and they said, "Oh, that's a perfect name for it, just the way you described it right there." And then someone suggested something where it's a little bit more alliterative, maybe wee whimsical weirdos or
Okay.
musical merry monsters or something like that. And then I put it to a Twitter vote, and people liked the wee whimsical creatures. And then if someone said, "Oh, I really like the Victorian vibe that it gives," and I thought, well, why not give a full-on Victorian vibe where it starts off saying, "This is a game for the education and pleasure of people ages," blah, blah, blah. And the title is just the description, the tagline, the title, all of it is one thing.
All in one. So give us an idea of how the game plays. How do you actually play this game? How many players is it for? That sort of thing.
It's perfect for 4 to 8 players, I would say.
Okay.
There is going to be a cooperative mode for 2 or 3, and you can go 9 or more. I've played it with 12, but the problem is that as you go to the higher player counts, it slows the game down a tiny bit, and
Sure.
you get less opportunity to make noises. So I'll just show a few of the things. So you've got these cards, and each card has a creature. You're going to have 5 creatures. Oh, is my Skype blurred?
If you put it in front of your face, it shouldn't blur it. There you go.
So all of these, so you've got 5 creatures, and then in your hand you've got a bunch of cards. You shuffle them up, and it'll say 1, 2, 3, or 5. Now in my hand I've got a number. I will make a noise trying to emulate one of these creatures and try to get you to think of it. So for example, if it were...
Yeah, I want to hear one of these noises.
Actually, I can't even hold up 5. This is why this game does actually need a table. So, sorry about this. I should.
That's okay.
So, I'm going to make the noise.
All right, I think it's the one in the middle.
think it's
No, I think it's the one in the middle you're doing, or the
I don't
second.
know, I'm going to say the one on the right.
The one on the right. So, this one.
That's the one
Oh,
Tico
the other
thinks?
right. The other right. Sorry, my right.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this right.
All right, and which one was it?
So I was trying to do the one in the middle.
See, I knew it.
But
I was right. I win, Tico. See, I win this game. I'm good at this game.
This
so
is
this
not
is
good. I'm going to have to
where
practice.
you kind of want to have 4 or more players because it's all about being in the majority. If you are in the majority as a guesser, you get a point. It doesn't matter whether you're correct or wrong. It just means you've made a good guess. But then secondly, you reveal what the correct answer was, and either my noise matches to the majority, and I was making a good noise, and I get a point as well, or if I didn't make a good noise and it didn't match the majority, then anyone who guessed correctly also gets a point because they also made a good guess.
Awesome.
And so there's basically 3 ways to get points, either as a guesser, guessing correctly, or guessing with majority. And you keep going until everyone's had a go at it, and that's the way the game is played.
That's great. That's great.
That's fantastic. I want to know about the art. Did the art, like the idea for the art, come after the idea for the game, or did you how did you come up with this stuff? It's such weird, unique creatures, and I was wondering, did you just start slapping like Mr. Potato Head pieces together in order to get these creatures? Where did that come from, and how did you come up with this amazing art?
Oh, thank you very much. That's so kind of you. So basically, I came up with the idea for the game in a digital game jam back in January.
Okay.
And it was very much meant to be something that can be played in stream. If you've got an overhead camera, then people in chat can guess it.
Yep.
And for that original game, it was a case of, oh, well, people could just draw things as part of it, and I could just draw things as we go along. And then I realized, actually, that takes quite a while, and that's going to slow everything down. And it would be a lot better to keep reusing stuff. So I had a version, I had one version, and then I lost that, so I made a complete second version. And then I was planning to redo creatures from there, and then I lost it. And so what I did for the third iteration, which is what you see for the final 80 creatures from the first edition, is I had a sort of look-up table where I said, okay, I'll roll dice or flip over cards, and if it's one of these numbers, this one means it's got a big mouth, this one means it's got an even bigger mouth, this one means it's got a tiny mouth, this one means it's got like 3 mouths, and this one means it's got lots of mouths. And then something similar for the eyes, something similar for the hands, and a number of legs and a type of legs. And then I would just see these things and say, okay, this is going to be a creature that's a bit spotty, it's got only one leg, the leg is like a hoof, and it's got a giant mouth, and the mouth is screaming. Okay, how can I put that together?
Nice.
And then, because, you randomly roll things together, and that randomness kept it fresh.
Nice.
I don't think I would have been able to keep it up at the pace that I did, just doing it purely from my own mind, if I hadn't done that bit of preparation before to write down a list of different attributes and then kind of randomized it in that way, if you know what I mean.
Bez, I think you've got another game on your hands there. You just need to have, it's just a dice game, and each of the dice have each of those characteristics, and you just roll them, and everyone has to draw a creature and then vote on the best one based on those characteristics. You've got another game right there.
I love it. Why not?
Right? All you need is like custom dice with each of the characteristics and the different 1 leg, 2 leg, 3 leg, whatever.
Or it could be a card game. That's a brilliant idea.
I do have a question about one of your creatures. I didn't realize that you are a fan of me. I mean, what's up with this creature looking like me? Come on.
And to anybody who doesn't know, that's what Sean's legs actually
I mean,
look
you never
like.
see
We
my
only ever see
legs.
his
You don't know.
torso.
You don't know
Those
my
are
legs.
his legs.
My legs could be chicken legs. I mean, you don't know. But I took a look at them like, wait a minute. Why is there a self-portrait of me?
I mean, it doesn't even have the beard. It's really funny that you say that, because so many people, I don't know where it came from, because it was like 4 chicken legs, it's a small mouth, and it was like, okay, I'll draw a vague face. And, while I was doing all these portraits, not portraits, these aren't actually
Oh, no,
portraits.
this is a portrait. I know it. You had to have been watching one of our shows, and you're like, I'm creating a creature out of this guy because he's so weird.
Look, it's funny because the thing is, this sometimes you get one of those faces that could almost be like so many different people, and I love how many people resonate with this and say that looks like my boss, or that looks like James, or that looks like Sean, and someone's like, my boss might sound weird, and this is kind of what my boss would sound like, and people, I think so in case people don't know, or for the second edition, the first edition, I did 50 copies and it sold out in one day at UK Games Expo. And then the second edition, I'm going to redo a few of the creatures because I wanted to do a Kickstarter. I want to know roughly how many to do because it is a print on demand thing. But firstly, I want everyone who wants it to have access to it, which is why you are going to be able to get it print and play for £1.
Oh, okay.
So if you want the game, then that's the cheapest price that I can make a pledge level for on Kickstarter. Right. You can't go into like 50 pence or whatever, which I might be tempted to do that if I could. But yeah, with the 16 new creatures that I'm kind of going through some votes just now to say which ones should I keep, which ones should I lose, I'm thinking, I need to have more specs and more faces, and some of them are actually going to be based off very directly, this is this person. And if you want something that's, directly, this is you, but if you were a creature and all your features were mixed up and everything, then...
Well, I've already got a card that looks like me, so I'm good. We're all set. I mean, that is clearly me. I mean, here, let's just put it up on screen again. It's like...
Yeah, that is. That's why when you did the sound, I've heard him make that sound before. That's why I picked that one.
Tico. Bez, tell us about the co-op mode. How does that play?
So the co-op mode is something that I'm still needing to spend a bit more time playing, but it was during UK Games Expo again. Originally, I thought it would just be the competitive mode, but then there were a couple of times when people came over in just a couple of people at a time, or even just one person. And so we got into a mode where it was just invented over the course of UK Games Expo, saying, okay, if you get it wrong, then the one you picked plus the one that it actually was goes into a failure pile, so you lose 2 points.
Okay.
If you get it correct, then you win 1 point. And what I'm now thinking is it might require some extra cards, it might require potentially an add-on, but I am going to be spending quite a bit of time earlier in the week. What I've started doing is a go round, you've got 5 creatures to pick from. If you get it all correct, go round again, you've got 6 creatures to pick from. Now go around again, you've got 7 creatures, and each time the creatures are being rotated and reset, so it's just more and more confusion. So by the time you get to 10 creatures to pick from, if you can get through that and correctly get all the other players to identify which creature is which, then you have just been super awesome at making noises, and well done.
I know a lot of people who are very good at making noises. I don't know if they're good noises or not, but they make noises.
They're noises. So this is the first game. It's Bezzy's budget bag game. So this is the first game in that. Is the Kickstarter also going to be in a bag as part of that thing, or are you going to have a box?
No. So I want to make it very clear. This is literally just in a bag. So it is a print-on-demand product.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm printing if I get. If I got to the point where there were 40 people who wanted it, that would be fine, and I would print off 50 copies, keep 10 for myself, and sell them off. I hope that there will be a few more, but even if it's just a case of printing off 50 copies, I can make that work, which is the amazing thing for print on demand.
Right.
And if I need more, I will print them at demand, hence the name. But the box is half the price of pretty much any game. And that's the thing that consumers don't realize. If you pick up a £10 game, then £5 of that game is in the box. If you pick up a £40 game, normally that box, especially if you consider the insert, that will be at least half the price,
right,
as a rule of thumb. And so here, I am getting a bit less margin than I should be getting, because it's at the point where I couldn't afford to put this through distribution. I couldn't even afford to sell it to shops, frankly. I'm kind of speaking to a couple of retailers to see could they do some sort of sale or return thing where
Yeah.
maybe they only keep a quid of profit, but then I will take back anything that doesn't get sold. I mean, just if I've got an extra 5, 10 copies, but it is very much a this is a thing. I hope it's a thing that makes you laugh. And if you enjoy it, then you will get a copy. I am printing it in a a low stress manner. Look, some of the things that have been done graphics wise aren't perfect. Like some of the creatures, let me actually, I shouldn't be bad mouthing my own thing, but here, here, this creature is kind of off-white, if you can see, because I originally drew it on off-white,
Right.
and I think it actually looks quite nice like that. But then most of the creatures I then went on to draw on a white
Okay.
paper, so
Yeah.
this was bleached paper, and so they do look slightly different. Some of them, the line weight isn't 100% consistent, and look, if it was something that I was going to be producing thousands and thousands of copies for, then I might be thinking, okay, I'm going to go back and redo all 80 of them, tweak things, maybe do them digitally or something. I don't know. But at this point, this is basically just from my brain to the paper,
Right.
then getting a friend to help me scan it all in, and then it's sent to you, and hopefully you will enjoy it. And that's
Yeah.
it. It's almost like letting me experiment,
Yeah.
letting me try things that, because yeah, if you print 1,000 copies, then you need to worry about how are you going to sell the other 700. But then from the consumer's perspective, if you are backing this Kickstarter, on the other hand, if you are one of the first people to back it, like if you're within the first 100 or so to back it, I will probably be able to get it sent out by the end of September.
Wow.
So
Oh
it will
wow.
be finished by September. I will finish all the art by the following Wednesday. So it'll finish 3rd of September. I'll get anyone who's doing a custom thing to get me those instructions within 2 days. I will do all my drawing within the next 2 days. Wednesday, my friend will come over to help me scan stuff in, and then we will send it all to the person who prints it up. I'll get it within 2 weeks, and then boom,
Wow.
I'll start shipping it out.
That's awesome. Now, you did a small run already for the UK Game Expo, and
Mhm.
it sold out. What was the
Yes.
response like there of people playing it? Did you have it out? Did you get people to make noises? What was that like?
Oh, it was just fantastic. And that's the thing. Like, honestly, there's a few factors at play. Firstly, I didn't expect UK Games Expo to be as busy as it was. There were like 10,500 people there. And for
Wow.
this time, like when we've got a pandemic going on, it felt I wasn't expecting that much. But they did so many tests that it still felt safe and everyone was wearing masks, which is really good. And everyone had hand sanitizer. I had
Nice.
sanitizer at each of my tables, and we were taking lots of precautions. And so people came over. I was firstly surprised by, all the lovely compliments about the artwork.
Mm.
And then secondly, when I got people to sit down, I would make the first noise and then people would be like, okay, that's how the game's played. And then people would be up for making noises. It's not like you have to do faces and make lots of extravagant noises because sometimes the difference between and is quite discernible, whether it's something with a little closed mouth,
Yeah.
which is that could even be, I don't know, it looks like a turtle, but I could imagine that being like a cow, like moo.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
for
don't
sure.
have to do like a big thing, but like when and it was really, really nice to see people being drawn out of their shell. It was just myself and one other person all 3 days. And the other person was saying that so many times people would come, like maybe there would be 3 people or 4 people who would sit down, and then a couple of them would be quite uncertain. But by the time it had gotten to them, they would be all in, like with full gusto, and then they would want a
Nice.
second round.
Awesome.
It's
Oh,
Awesome.
so
that's
fantastic. And I thought those 50 copies would last until Sunday at least. I thought, well, if it sells out, that's good.
Yeah.
And if I've got like 10 copies left, then so be it. I'll probably sell
Mhm.
out of them in a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, instead, like 9:50 a.m. Saturday, the last copy was officially sold.
Wow.
And it was like I just was blown away, and there were people coming back saying, "Oh, I've played it with my friend. I want to buy my own copy." And someone came back saying, "Oh, I got a copy yesterday. Can I get 5 more?"
Oh,
And it
wow.
was like, wow. And because I think people, yes, it comes in a bag, but people don't actually mind that
No,
too much. And
No.
just
no.
to go on about the budget nature again, it is just cards. The rules are just on the fronts and backs of 4 different cards, I want to say. So I do use cards for that. But by the time the Kickstarter is out, I will have like a nicely done quick how to play this game
Yeah,
on my
yeah.
website. So if people want to read that, or sorry, I should say watch that because they don't like reading, then they totally can. But yeah, it
It's
was
kind of the
fantastic.
perfect game for, I don't know if you've seen those new the mint tin games that have been coming out. This is the kind of
Yeah.
perfect game even just for a little mint tin, it'd be good. I don't know how much those are. They probably add more than a pound onto
Mm,
your
mm,
cost,
Yeah.
but it's the kind of that's the kind of game it is. A little quick, easy, portable
Little,
game.
yeah, toss in your pocket and bring along with you. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
exactly.
I want to ask about the Kickstarter. Do you have any stretch goals planned, or is it just going to be sort of an all or nothing
ooh.
plan?
So this is a thing. Like when, so my Kickstarter goal is going to be literally 150 quid. Because if I get 150 quid, that will be enough to print a bunch of them and
Yeah.
send it out to whoever wants it. I I mean, I'm hoping to get more, but that is basically the point at which, okay, it's worth progressing.
Yeah.
Less than that, it's like, okay, maybe something's wrong and it's not even worth carrying on. Let's abandon ship and not even do this. Now, if I get like 200% funded, that doesn't give me suddenly a lot of money to play with
No.
because,
Right.
that's still only 300 quid. But I am thinking that I I would like to give people something. If I get there, like I'm not expecting to. I've been thinking about doing a little sticker, like maybe people's favorite monster, whichever
Mm.
one people's favorite monster is, then we'll have a. I've already done a vote and I've worked out these are the top eight. Like I've ranked them in order of how many votes everything got. And
Yeah.
so we could do like another vote off for like the top eight, say, okay, one of these will be turned into stickers and I'll print a bunch of stickers and everyone who's got the physical game will get a couple of stickers per pack. Because again, this is the thing about printing stickers. Once, if you print 2 different kinds, it's so much more expensive.
Right.
Right.
But if you print like double or 10 times, then it's much cheaper. So frankly, I could, if I am printing at the point that I decide to print stickers, I might as well give people multiple.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, obviously,
What,
if this one isn't the number one choice of everyone, then the vote was fixed. I mean, there's something we're gonna have to count, do a recount, and
where did the Sean monster rank?
um,
the Sean monster. I love it.
I can actually tell you, it was number 4,
Oh,
which
Wow,
wow.
awesome.
Look
I
at
like
that.
it.
Your ugly mug was a top four, Sean.
That's it. Awesome. Top four. All right, Bez, we are at the point in our show where we're going to do a quick lightning round. We've got 8 questions for you to learn about you as a gamer outside of
cool.
your own game. How's that sound?
Sounds
All
awesome.
right, so first answer that comes to mind is we'll get through it really quick. What's a game you love but always lose?
Oh, this is different from what I was expecting. Um, oh,
We make things
I
interesting.
I lose. I can't think of games I lose that off. Sports. I'm terrible at sports, but I actually quite enjoy. I quite enjoy football, or as you might call it,
So,
soccer.
all right. What's the last game you played?
The last game I played was a prototype for my L deck.
Okay.
So that's 2 letters on each card, and I got some submissions, and it was a word game.
Awesome. Competitive or cooperative?
I am going to say cooperative. I enjoy both, but I feel like I enjoy. we I feel like cooperative, it tends to bring people together
Yes.
a bit more easily.
I love cooperative games.
Mhm.
Most recent game purchase.
Oof. Um, oh wow. This is embarrassing. I've actually tried to be in a getting rid of games phase recently because I'm actually emigrating in a year and a bit, and
Okay.
so I want to get rid of so much of my collection. I think that I backed um, the game of Flatter Me, if you know it, by Amy
Okay.
Bauer, where
Okay.
there's a bunch of cards and you're trying to give each other compliments. But I did also get a few games at UK Games Expo, but I don't know if those count because I traded for them, so I didn't technically purchase
It's still
them.
the most recent. I
You
mean,
can count
a
that.
trade is still a purchase. I mean, you're. It's just
Mm,
not trading money. It's
okay,
still
in
a
that
trade. It's
case,
still a purchase.
I saw Tim Fowers and I gave a copy of Kitty Cataclysm, and Tim gave me a copy of Hardback.
Awesome. There you go.
Oh,
Deck builder or deck constructor?
I love Magic the Gathering, and I love the creativity that goes into that. But with my life right now, I am going to go. Oh, I thought I was going to say deck builder just because it fits more nicely. But you know what? I just love the idea of going to a pre-release, even if I'm
Yeah.
not going to keep this deck for loads and loads of time. I just like the idea of having that deck at the start of the day, and then I play it through the
Yeah.
day for a few hours, and I have that ownership.
There you
I'm going
go.
to say deck construction, more ownership.
Science fiction or fantasy?
Fantasy.
What is a game you most want to add to your collection?
Mm, um, Mord in Marossa.
Okay.
So it's like things. Actually, no, no, I retract that. There's a game that I saw at Festival International Juju. I went there 2020 in February, and they have this crazy cooperative game where it's called Team Tower. Everyone's holding ropes. And so you've got to have at least four people minimum. I think it goes up to 12. And then in the center of the ropes, connected to all of these, is like a big hook. And then on the hook, you've got to move it around communally to pick up blocks like a little crane. And I
That's
played it a
cool.
few times at the convention. It was just so much fun. And I think it's an experience unlike anything else that I've played.
That's cool. And finally, what's your favorite childhood game?
Ooh. I'm going to say Escape from Colditz.
Okay.
I know it's
That,
kind of dark, but yeah, it was like one versus many, just one person tries to escape, and there's all these things. And also it kind of feels like it feeds the imagination. Do you know what I mean?
awesome. Well, it's been such a pleasure, Bez, having you on Kicking Tables. Before we let you go, what's something you really want people to know about wee whimsical creatures, or I should say, a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes a noise and
Noises.
makes
It
noises?
might be plural
That's
noises.
true. What do you want people to most know about this game, and why should they go ahead and back it?
I think that you know what you're getting. If the idea of making noises sounds like something that you might even have a bit of fun doing, then get it. If you like the art, then get it because for £1, as I said, you will get a print and play of
Mm-hmm.
not just the new monsters for the second edition, but also the 16 old monsters that were removed. And if you want, some people have said, I would like to color these in, which is exactly why I did them in black and white.
There you
And
go.
so if you want to print it out and color them in, you can. If you want to color in your cards, you totally can. And if you even want to grab, yeah, some of the original art or commission a brand new monster, you can.
I think the most
awesome.
importantly, the best reason to back it is to support an indie developer such as yourself. That's an even
Thank you.
great way reason to back it. Bez, thank you so much for being on the show. Good luck with the campaign. The campaign starts on August 31st. There is links in the description below, so everybody go check it out. Bez, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a delight to meet both of you.
Thanks.
Thank you everyone for watching. It's been a delight to be on. Please remember to subscribe to OMG Nexus, like the video, do check out the Kickstarter, of course, but check out all the wonderful other videos and people that Sean and Tycho are chatting to. Lots of love.